God bless you and welcome to another episode of God at Work. Glad we can be back with you. And today we're going to be looking at some of the things that have gone on around where the war has been taking place, around Ukraine, around Russia. And I'm looking at the situation with Poland, with Romania, with Belarusia, and all these different countries that have refugees crossing their border trying to escape the war. It's amazing. I don't know what I would do in that situation. I guess if I was in it, God would give me an understanding of what He wanted me to do. Like He's very clearly made it very clear to my pastor friend there in the Ukraine that he's to stay, whereas I know others that believe strongly that they were to leave. And I don't know. I wouldn't judge either one of them. But what I would know is that God would have to lead me and guide me. But when I'm looking at the situation with Poland, it's amazing. It's a poor country. And yet they're taking in hundreds of thousands of people crossing that border and doing whatever they can. Do you know, right now they are showing compassion. They are showing God's mercy to these people. Like many people in countries where we have more would not be willing to do as they're doing. So, Jerry, will you be open to singing I Will Sing of the Mercies of the Lord Forever? I love that song from Psalm 89 because that's what they're exactly doing in the Poland right now.
I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. I will sing, yes, I will sing. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord. With my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness, thy faithfulness. With my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness to all generations. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. I will sing, yes, I will sing. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord. With my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness, thy faithfulness. With my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness to all generations. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. I will sing, yes, I will sing. Oh, I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord.
I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. Do you know, there's several places in the scriptures where it tells us that Jesus saw the needs, he saw the people, and he had compassion on them. It said he was moved with compassion. He had compassion when he saw different situations. He was moved and touched by compassion. And I know for me personally, when I was pastoring a church and we had an outreach to the homeless, to the poor, there's so many times when the compassion of God just whelmed up within my heart. I could look at the situation and I could no longer look at it through my natural hardened heart. But all I could do was look at it through the eyes of Christ with compassion and step out and do whatever he would lead and guide us to do. But here in Poland, with what's going on right now and all the refugees that are trying to cross the border, and not just in one location, but in several locations, they're trying to cross the border to escape what's going on. But there's a photo here, actually, of a group of them. You can see the family with their children and everything else crossing the border to get in to what they consider would be a much safer place than where they were. Not necessarily perfectly safe, but definitely safer than where they were. And they're crossing over, doing whatever they can. There was one little image that I saw that I was looking at, and the soldiers that were at the border. I guess they were the border guards. Were watching as mothers were holding their babies and little children, and you'd see little kids screaming because they'd see all these guns and they'd hear all the noise they'd been escaping, and you'd see the soldier reach out to hold a little baby for a mother that was struggling to, maybe it was find papers or whatever, but struggling just to get across the border. And the soldier would walk beside her carrying that baby, showing compassion. Showing a compassion like God's heart for each and every one of those little ones. And then they'd get across the border, and when things were settled down, well, in some of the border crossings, they had buses waiting to take them into the next area. And the soldiers would pass the baby back to the mother. And the baby would have calmed down. And the mother was through this trajectory that they had to make to get across the border. And then the people had all these hundreds of thousands of people on their doorstep. Many that hadn't eaten for days, many that hadn't had anything to drink, or were short of clothes, and little children that didn't have any of their toys. They had to leave everything behind. The next picture coming up, you can see there's a little boy there sitting by himself on the ground with his bowl of food in front of him, looking and watching everything going on, but sitting there with his food. Because the people there in Poland were reaching out and giving and meeting the needs of all these little ones, as well as all the adults. You can see in the next picture, there's the adults getting their portions of food served to them as well. And God is reaching out, taking care of the needs. But this isn't coming from a wealthy country. Poland's not a wealthy country. It's one of the ex-Soviet nations. They have their own needs, and yet they're taking from what they have and sharing it with those that have need. I know when I lived in Africa, many times, people had next to nothing. But if you came by, they would always have enough. They would never say, "Oh, I only cooked for myself and my 5 children. There isn't enough." Never. They would always, even if it meant putting another yam or potato or something in the pot, they would put it in. But they would always share what they had with you. I remember one time, and to be honest, I felt bad until the people said, "You cannot reject what this lady's doing." This lady had invited me to come to her place for dinner. And she had set it up that it was going to be at the very end of the month. Why? Because that was when she got paid. That was when she was going to have money. And she had been out and bought all this stuff to make this dinner for me. And it was kind of funny because I was on my way to do a concert that night, and I had a white, long-sleeved top on. And they, over there, a lot of times they ate with their hands. And I was still learning how to do that without making a mess. And the next thing you know, I dug my hand into the soup, lifted up to my mouth, which you don't do it that way, because all of a sudden all of this soup was running down my arm and my sleeve of my nice white blouse into my mouth. So I had to go and get changed before I could even go do my concert that night. But that's how the people were. She spent, though, every penny she had pretty much on that one meal, which would have been her month's allotment for food for herself and her family. And I felt so badly. I wanted to say, no, don't do it. But I couldn't. One, she'd already bought it. And 2, she would have felt so insulted if I'd refused what she was offering. But here, just like that lady, she gave of what she had, the best she could give of what she had. Here in Poland, they're giving of what they have. I saw one picture, I don't have it, but I saw a picture, and it was some people picking apples in their orchard and taking sacks and sacks and sacks and truckloads of apples and giving them to all these people crossing the border. But that would have been their income for quite a while, selling their apples. But instead, they were sharing it with those who had need. They were passing it on. I love this next picture, a little girl. And there she is, in amongst a bunch of toys and clothes. And because when they left home, they didn't have time to pack up all their favorite toys or anything else. They just had to run, a lot of them, out in the middle of the night running. And so here, they got all these toys for this little girl. All the kids there, they got to choose toys, and parents got to choose clothes to help them out. There was a picture that it wasn't a very good picture, so I couldn't use it. And it showed them with suitcases on their shoulders, on their backs, on their heads, and crammed. That's all they had with them of their life's supply. That's all they were able to carry with them. So here's these little kids. You knew the parents were carrying clothes and necessities, and toys were not considered a necessity. So here they're being given them right there as they entered into the country. Then there's another picture coming up. And this one here is really interesting. The gentleman down on his haunches there, he's offering a little stuffed animal to the little child. That man was the mayor of a city way off in another area of Poland. But he came out to give toys to the children as they were crossing. He wanted to, in some way, do what he could to meet the needs. He wasn't up there doing any political gesture. He was just passing out toys. It wasn't a political campaign for him. It was passing out toys. There's a scripture in Lamentations that says, through the Lord's mercies, we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. That's Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 and 23. Through the Lord's mercies, we are not consumed, because his compassions, they fail not. His compassions, they fail not. And when we're following his leading and his guiding, and you see his compassion overflowing, overwhelming for all those around in need, that compassion soon becomes part of your life. I saw so many times in the program that we had for feeding the homeless. We had a drop-in center where they could come in every single day. You think, sure, there's need for that in Canada? You better believe it. And they would come in every day and be fed, have their needs met. But why? We saw God's compassion being poured out in so many places. And when you're touched by that compassion, you can't do any less. But you want to pour it out as well. There was people that would come in. It was quite funny. One time there was this one lady, and she would come in every single week. We had a big sit-down dinner on Sundays. The rest of the week, it was a drop-in anytime, any day, all week long. But on Sundays, we had a big sit-down dinner. And this lady would come, and she would have some little takeout carton that she probably picked up out of the garbage. And she would put her plate of food into the takeout container, and she would try and hide it in a bag, in her purse, or whatever. And then she would ask for another plate, as if she hadn't been served. And I mean, we all knew she was doing it. And finally, I went up to her one time, and I said, so I hope that other plate will help you through another couple of days. And she looks at me and says, what are you talking about? And I said, look, we all know that you're hungry. And we've seen, not just you, but others as well, try and fill up a plate to take with them. And you know, as long as the food's there, I don't have a problem with it. I would rather see you take it and have another meal for tomorrow than have nothing and have that just go to waste because everybody's already eaten. So just don't feel you have to hide it. If you need it, either you can ask, and we might even have a clean container you could take it in, or feel free to help yourself if you need it. And it's amazing when the compassion of God just overflows when you see that need. But through the Lord's mercies, we are not consumed, because his compassions, they fail not. The compassion of God never fails, but it will meet the needs of each and every circumstance, each and every individual. He will meet that need. His compassions never fail. His faithfulness is great. In the Psalm chapter 54, actually the whole Psalm, 1 through 7, it says, save me, O God, by your name, and vindicate me by your strength. Hear my prayer, O God. Give ear to the words of my mouth. For strangers have risen up against me, and oppressors have sought after my life. They have not set God before them. Behold, God is my helper. The Lord is with those who uphold my life. He will repay my enemies for their evil, cut them off in their truth. In your truth, I will freely sacrifice to you. I will praise your name, O Lord, for for it is good. For he has delivered me out of all trouble, and my eye has seen his desire upon my enemies. The Lord is faithful, and he will lead and guide each and every step of the way. He is not going to be set down. He is not going to be overrun or over-controlled, because he holds the key to each and every one of these situations. He holds a key to each and every one of the needs in these people's lives. Like sending the mayor of a city to go out into a refugee camp area to give little stuffed animals to children. A lot of times we wouldn't think of doing something like that. We'd want to stay where we're safe away from the border and safe in our own home with all that we have, rather than giving what God would ask us to give. Now you can see that little girl was eyeing things so carefully in that other picture, wondering, what do I really want to take with me? I mean, they couldn't take a whole great big bag, well, they had to carry it. But they could take what they wanted to have with them. And you saw the people feeding and reaching out, extending, God's hand extended to each and every one of these circumstances. Amazing what God does. But you know, God is so faithful. He's faithful in all that he does. And he is so faithful to each of these people, escaping the war, escaping the danger. Little ones that have seen atrocities that you and I might never, ever see. And nor do we want to. But God knows, and he comforts them. And he sends a little stuffed animal to comfort them. Why? Because he loves them. And now they're in a country, it's not their own country. They don't have their own house right now, their homes. But you know what? They do have people extending God's love to each and every one of them. God is an amazing God. He is touching hearts and touching lives in so many of those countries all around. So many of them. So many that have chosen to stay where God's placed them, to be there to meet the needs there, and others that know that they're to move on. And I know some of the ones that have left have gone because God's given them a word that they have to be there to comfort those that are hurting, that are afraid. And I know that as he speaks to people's hearts, those needs are being met in each and every one of those lives. But people in an area where they don't have a lot are willing to give of what they have. So, Jerry, could you go ahead and sing the last song?
I pray for you. On my knees I start my day with you. For I know this is a way that I can help you rise above. And so I take the time to stop my hands, to still my heart, and really plead for you. For I see the desperate need in you, and I long to be a strength to you and help you carry on. So now I'll take the time to stop my hands, to still my heart, and really pray for you. As you fight to move ahead in your plight upon your bed, for the sorrow in your heart and all the troubles that surround, I come before the King right now, petition him to bring you now the strength you need, the faith you lack, and for his love to abound. And yes, I pray for you. I give a choice part of my day to you, and I have the faith he'll make a way for you when all seems lost. So now I take the time to stop my hands, to still my heart, and really cry for you. Pour out my heart, empty my eyes for you, fully aware that he who died for you now lives to strengthen you. And so I take the time to stop my hands, to still my heart, and really cry for you. As you fight to overcome, or as you struggle with someone, as you battle with some task that's far too hard for you to win, I ask him on my knees right now to bring the things you need right now, for light to see his loving hand in all you're going through. And yes, dear one, I pray for you. On my knees I start my day with you, for I know this is a way that I can help you rise above. And so I take the time to stop my hands, to still my heart, and really plead for you. So at his feet I intercede for you, for I know he knows what's best for you and wants what's right for you. And if I take the time to stop my hands, to still my heart, he'll surely fight for you, because he loves you. And I love you. I pray for you.
Well, I really do pray that this has touched your heart to flow with the compassion of Jesus as you pray for each and every one of these situations. And if God leads you to do something, I know that there are many ways that gifts can be given over there, but I know one, if you give it directly, and I have all the information as to how you can do it, you can send it directly into the church ministry account for Pastor Henry, and he will make sure that it gets directly and immediately to where the needs are at. You know, as he was telling me this morning, right now, people are running out of supplies, basic necessities, running out of supplies. It's not an easy situation to live in, but he's willing to do what God's called him to do and stay there and be there for the people. So if any of you are interested, just let me know and I can get the information to you. Praise God. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you for what you're doing in all of these countries over there. And Lord, I thank you that you are bringing it close to our hearts, Father, as we see these people and what they're going through. Lord, I ask that each one of us that are listening, unless it's something that you have for us, that we will never have to go through that type of situation, but we can be used, Lord, to reach out and meet the needs. We can be used, Lord, to pray the best that we can do. Pray for each and every one of these individuals, each one of these situations. Pray for each person who has been hurt physically or emotionally, Father, that you will heal their lives. Touch and heal, Father. For those who have lost loved ones, Lord, or who have loved ones that they've been separated from or are wounded, Lord, let your healing power flow right now. Healing hearts that are hurting, that are wounded. Touch these lives, Lord, we ask. In your precious name. Hallelujah. Wonderful. God bless you. And if God is speaking to your heart, and if you'd like to do something, feel free. Jerry will put the details up onto the screen as to how you can donate to this ministry to help us carry on with what God's asking us to do, or if you feel so led to sow into what's going on over there. And we'll make sure that I'll give you the details so you can send it directly. You don't even have to go through us. You can go directly to Pastor Henry's church ministry account and see what God will do. Anyways, God bless you. I hope this has been a blessing for you. I'll see you next week.